I think my key message to the industry, when it comes to environmental requirements, one, you need to comply with the requirements. Two, if compliance is not there, be honest with everybody. Tell them that you haven't complied, have good records, and then face the music. But I think you need to understand that really the industry has a good environmental record. There are incidents, but I think if they comply and they be honest, there won't be any trouble. I would say in the last 10 years, it's been the air emissions and Annex 6. Annex 6, we did not initially ratify that, and then they amended it to make it more strong, and that gave us the opportunity to ratify it and pass good air emission standards in the U.S. Well, I think the first one is the one that's facing everybody now. It's ballast water is the biggest regulatory challenge we have. I think air emissions, it would be the second one with the emission control area. And then I think the one that's out there is the EPA vessel general permit requirements that are probably going to increase over time. I think the most accurate I can say was within a year and a half. I think they may get enough tonnage to sign it and then enter into force. But the biggest challenge still is getting the Coast Guard type approved equipment for the U.S. I mean, quite frankly, the Ballast Water Convention, because of our own requirements, isn't that relevant in the U.S. at this point in time. So you're talking about scrubbers, fuel. You know, I think it's a very dynamic situation. It's hard to predict if there will ever be one preferred solution. I think right now, ships are going to have to look at all three of them: LNG, scrubbers, buying the distillate fuel. In the end, if the market bears out that distillate fuel is too expensive, the scrubber technology develops, then scrubbers, I think, will end up being the dominant. But at this point in time, I think it's too early to tell. I think in some instances we need better rules. I think IMO hasn't succeeded as well as they could, and I think the prime example is the Ballast Water Convention and the trouble it's had getting ratified. But they have other conventions that aren't being ratified, so maybe it's because of the rules. Compliance, you know, I think the industry always has those few bad actors, if I might use that term, that don't comply. But in general, I think people do comply, and they should comply, and they shouldn't look forward to non-compliance to try to gain an economic advantage.